this is something. So
I think this is maybe the biggest problem.
Yes. There is no infrastructure on this terms.
Yeah.
There is enough funding,
Yeah.
but there is no infrastructure in the management in between, because it's not because we have stupid managers, because managers, but those who are good managers, they go to London, they don't stay. Because that nobody has ever been thinking about what you need in a complete structure to have a strong art scene.
So the meta level.
Yes, and this, I think, especially in Vienna, has to do with with the tourism industries who don't consider contemporary art as important enough, because for the Philharmonic Orchestra, for the big museums, they have fantastic managers. But on this level, and that's the big difference, because in the Netherlands, in Belgium, the old arts are not so strong. So they are really putting efforts on the contemporary arts, and that's why you have the good managers there. So this is something I learned in my life.
I think this is maybe really the point of it.
Yeah.
Yes, because when I started as an artist in the 80s, first what we were looking for were managers, some people who could, what we are in our minds, could put it down and could come up with the money, but you couldn't find one. Yeah. And you see the same is with the art, the gallery scene in Vienna. I hope it's a joke. Yeah, that there is nobody is really making money with it, and the idea of a gallerist is to make shitload of money out of such stuff. Yeah, but they do it because they like art, or I don't know what. Yeah. There is no real, I think there's no real professional making money. I don't care if it's art or whatever. And this gives you the feeling, contrary to what you both said, that there is nothing really big in Vienna. But maybe there is, but Vienna is not able to bring it to the next stage or show it in a bigger context.
But sometimes it's not art is not only question about money.
You know, we're not talking about art, we're talking about infrastructure.
Yeah.
And why,
Yeah,
for example,
it is, but you said, or
no, art has nothing to do with. Actually, art has nothing to do with it. You know, the visibility and art has to do with communication, public communication. And of course, if there is not enough public communication, then the art can be as good as it wants. If it's not seen, it is failing the task, because art has to be discussed publicly. That's one of the crucial points in art, because of course we are out of the fetish times for thousands of years, that you have a fetish at home and it makes you good energy and this is enough. It makes sense to make art, to have art like in public. And that means you need, and this is always a collaboration of lots of powers. It's management, of course, it is audience, and then accept the artists themselves, and then there is above that also a bigger community of people who are generally interested but might not go to the openings or to the performances or to the concerts, but who are having this in their mind somehow. And this. You have a fantastic audience in Vienna, you can do almost everything if you do something outside, and you have a shuttle, but the people will go there. and things like, it's a fantastic audience. The Viennese audience is good. And interested, and they want to experiment. You can do lots of stuff, and people will come. I don't have, those who have problems with audience, I say, well, look, I don't know what you're doing wrong, but I mean, I don't have the feeling that I have a problem with audience. But then, it's not focused because there is nobody to organize it. So there is money, there is a good audience, there are lots of interesting artists who could become better if they would get more infrastructure and get more impulses to work. Of course, if you have to pay your rent and you can only paint 2 pictures a year, whatever, then of course you're not as successful as if somebody is really saying, okay, I give you 100,000 euros and come on, I want to see 20 pictures in 2 weeks, and stuff like this. That of course is fostering a completely different. And then of course
go the force as a art industry. But that for me, myself, I doesn't make a art industry. I don't like it. I'm not agree with this. And I'm agree what you say. We need audience, we need software, etc. Management. But the question is the point when art becomes only art industry.
No.
Yes, but I would agree. But the problem is art is an industry. Just not in Slovakia and Austria, but in America, the people say this is an industry and it has to function like an industry. It needs super manager to keep this thing going and to keep the interest going. We are lucky enough to have a good audiences and people who are really interested in pure art. I mean, I feel like you, but I have to realize that the big art scene is an industry, and in some parts of the world it functions, it works, and here it doesn't. And I think these two brought me to the idea it is a problem of management. It's not a problem of art. It's a problem how to organize some sort of art industry. That doesn't mean you have to change your work, but as Thomas said, this is something very different if I stay in my thing and do like this, or there is a man behind me and says, come on, I have to sell this shit, come on, work faster. I think you get more out of...
But it's more, but I think it's question everywhere. It also in London was, I don't know, I saw just a small part of one film. Then compare a very successful artist with somebody, I don't know who was, with somebody who make something more deeper, some stronger. And sometimes for me, art industry is really like empty or
yes, of course.
And this is the basic question: what is art? If the artist is only the subject of industry or
no, it is not. I mean, this has nothing to do with art. The thing is just if you have a scene which is interesting. I mean, this is like. In the music, because there is so much money and so much business in classical music in Vienna. If you play really a contemporary quartet somewhere, it has its focus also because the society is already good. Unfortunately, we live in the, or fortunately actually, we live in the end of capitalistic times, and that means everything is like counted in money. Which is a catastrophe, of course, but at the same time, so this has nothing to do with art. For me, art is the arena of negotiation of the present. This has nothing to do. In this case, it has to do with money because our present is so deeply concerned with money. But exactly, art is more than just. This is why you cannot say selling art is not better than the other, because better, good, and bad is a category which is not working for art. I mean, this is so context, so selling art is not so interesting. I would say it's not per se. The thing is just how much focus and how can you make a living out of doing stuff without being forced to I don't know, work as a waiter somewhere or do something else, driving taxis or doing another job because you cannot live of it. So this is, it would be better to change the system. So this is not, I mean, the old Greek system that in the moment you're an artist, the society is looking for you that you can make you have a good life, and in return you make your art for the society.
You say sometimes I think it's now is much more important how many. That's a question about the quantity, not the question about the quality. You know, why to make art? Why to make art?
But
only for the huge and how many?
I would say we are good on quality, but very poor on quantity. I don't think if you could stay in this market because you have to produce 1,000 paintings. I don't think you make 1,000 paintings a year, but you have to see, you have to sell to China. China wants to build 1,000 museums. They have to fill them with something. I think they take everything, but you have to ship it to them. What we don't have is this big manager types who can say, okay, what you do is they need it in Taiwan. What you do, they need it in Beijing, whatever. Yeah? We don't even know. I know I have a small part of my artwork. They would die in Japan for it, but there is no transmission. Yeah, and it's not like in a small gallery. Then you have to, when you go in, then you have to go in big, and that's what we are not able to. And that's not a, I don't think, a problem of artists, or not a problem of managers, of art managers. And I mean, people are always, wow, 400 million. I mean, if they pay $1 billion for a painting, then I say it's okay, because these fucking fighter jets, they cost like this. Yeah? And I want to have art who is much more expensive than this fucking military stuff. Yeah? Then it's not, I think it has to do with attention, with respect. Yeah? They respect them because they can throw bombs on them. An artist can do that, but the more you get out of art in this...
it's a question of the art market.
Of course. I think we have no art market here.
If I can say something, after Salvator Mundi, after $400 million for one false picture in Abu Dhabi, in the Louvre of Abu Dhabi, that doesn't exist in the free middle class art market in the whole world. You doesn't have any gallery, and such views on the world. We are living in a black scene, or in a shadow that doesn't functions in the art market and art managers, that doesn't exist and doesn't function also in America, also in Britain. You don't have now a very good and functionary art scene in the whole world. It doesn't exist. You have multi-millionaires that are buying some very high-class stuff like Impressionist and like other things, or Cy Twombly, yeah. And then you have nothing. You have artists also in USA. They must work in the McDonald's for paying for paying the bills. Also, you don't have any scenes there's pink, there's nice, there's this great. No, being an artist, being a painter, it's a very hard job. You must be very good. And if you are 20, 22, 25, 26, it's not just normal. You're not a very great artist. You must have any life after you. You must have behind you some history, some stories. And after you have these stories with McDonald's, with drugs, with sex, with everything, this fucking stuff, after this, after your history, after your stories, you can be only the artist. That's why the young artists, sorry, that's my opinion of art historian and art theorist, but it's something others. Being an artist, it's not being a makler, it's not being a salesman. You're being an artist, and that's a hard job. You are not Damien Hirst. Yeah, you are not at the first moment.
If you're Damien Hirst, you begin to paint, then everybody is making fun of you.
No. Even if you have the luck, if you have really good luck, even in that moment you're not very millionaire. At the first 2 years, at the first 10 years, you cannot be a millionaire in the art market like an artist. Yeah, you can be a millionaire like a Richter, yeah, in German, I don't know. You have some really good, but it's one person. This is 1% of the 100% of artists. Yeah.
Yeah, the graph is a parabola, yeah?
No, I don't think
No?
if it's better in ancient Greek. I know this legend about the situation of philosophers and artists, but there are myths, there are legends, there are stories, talks from historiographics. That's not true. Even in ancient Greeks, the artists are in stuff.
And this horrible prize from Abu Dhabi was not prize for the painting.
No.
It was prize for the God. I know the mean the Jesus. I mean the Leonardo.
No,
for the painting.
that was a prize for sales, for marketing. That was a prize for a big name. We are Louvre. We must have a Da Vinci. Even it is not a Da Vinci. Yeah, this is not the Da
We're not
Vinci.
talking about art at all. But this has nothing to do with art. So I think because for me it's also the sunflower. Van Gogh's Sunflower is one of his most uninteresting paintings he ever did. It's this is most expensive one. So this is not interesting because I don't see a connection in between art and market on this high level you're talking about, because this is just investment. It could be a piece of stone as well. It doesn't matter at all. It has nothing to do with art, because art is, as I think, communication. And it is not made for communication. It's just for showing. I have 20 Lamborghinis, and then I have 10 Rolls Royce, and then I have a Pablo Picasso. No, this is not interesting. This has not, or Rolling Stone. This is not what. But one thing.
But this shows the way. This shows the way for the whole market, for the whole strategies in the art.
Yes, but I think the most interesting thing is what you said is that the middle class, and this is not art. This is the development of capitalism, that the middle class is dying out.
Yeah, this doesn't exist.
The middle class was always fostering art, because it was not the big, I don't know, it was not the king who did it, it was the wealthy salesman, not the rich, the wealthy salesman who said, okay, I love what you are doing, and I want to come to your atelier, I want to come to your rehearsals, I want to see your... And then it's supporting and buying something. This makes the society.
You said art is an engagement with contemporary, and this is it. This is it. Not what comes after and what is before. But this situation, and this needs a strong popular strata like the bourgeoisie, who is really interested and invested in this sort of thing. And if this is dying out, like you are saying, then the market for the smaller artists is rapidly getting smaller and smaller.
It's much cheaper to buy a poster in IKEA for the wall than buy a really picture. And much cheaper to buy a sea scene or whatever, like a really artwork. And the other question, what is a really artwork? It must be. I must search. I must ask. I must ask myself, because if I typed it in a Google, I want to buy art, you should see what stuff is there. You should see the stuff there in Google. I want to buy artworks, and then you see this quality, the high quality level. And you need some persons to show you, no, if you want to buy some pictures, you should go to this and this gallery, and not this stuff.
And also I have maybe one question. I think in history was art more in the local scene.
Yes.
And now we would like the art is for everybody, for global, total.
Everybody wants to be now at the castle and the global star.
If it's really real.
No.
If strong art is much more in the local scene, or has to be strong for everybody, same in Turkey,